Watching Smart Money, resident financial advisor Warren Ingram is still with me, and joining us to give us great direction and insight is the head of financial education at Old Mutual, John Manyike. Welcome to you, John.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you are a savings and investment institution. You're talking to us about holding on to our money. You and Warren are killjoys. You don't want me to have fun this December. What's you guys' problem?
Well, I think the reality is we have to enable positive futures. We have to empower people to do great things with the modest resources that they have and help them to actually plan their future better. It's very important that we have a financially savvy society out there, and it's good for the economy and it's good for the industry as well.
But you guys, you don't understand me. Kid December, right? More is another day.
Yeah.
I want to spend my money and enjoy my life, please.
So do you want to change the world? Or you don't care?
Look, if I get through this December, the world is going to be different. I know the drought of January is coming, school fees, blah, 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 blah. That's then. Now I want to enjoy.
I mean, to me, there could be nothing worse than starting the year, and I don't know what you think, but starting the year knowing that you've got this major debt that you just blew in December on absolutely nothing. I mean, there's nothing to show for it. It's not going to build you money. It's not going to do anything for you. All you did was have a jaw. You've probably got a bit of extra weight that you've got to sort out now because we overindulged. And now you've got to start the year with this major debt hangover as well. I mean, to me, that's not how life should be. That's not how you start.
But it would have been fun.
That's true. You see, the festive season is a period where a lot of people commit a financial suicide. I mean, we overindulge in buying non-essential items, food, parties, and we actually buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like with money we don't have.
How?
Can we capture that as a soundbite and play it on every single show for the rest of our lives? Because that's the deal. That is the essence of how we get ourselves into this mess every single time.
Yeah, and strangely, January comes and we suddenly look like we've never been there before. You ask people a simple question: what comes first between Christmas and New Year? The reason people are confused is because of the hangover of having to be bashing and the swipe card overheating because of swiping throughout December.
You guys, you don't understand, right? I want to be at the braai, right? I'm going back home. I've got to show the dudes that I know Kura went to Joburg. Kura's on top of his game. And that is of value to me. You guys are telling me I must... Can you imagine me sitting there at the braai telling guys, all right, guys, hey, yo, I bought some exchange-traded funds. Oh, they've yielded 12%. You're not joking, bruh. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a great conversation.
I'm giving this one to John.
Yeah, that's what I call a peacock syndrome. The life of showing off. But the problem is that at what cost? Because there's life after December.
Yeah, but I'll be back in Joburg in my mkuku, and people at home will think Kura is succeeding.
Yeah, but then if you're going to be left after December being over-indebted, the problem is, what do we do differently? How do we change that? How do we ensure that you don't have a hangover in January? The problem with this is that there may be, in some instances, in some households, there are children there, there are dependents. And you have to really make the right decisions to ensure that the future of your family is prioritized. So let's rather be proactive as opposed to reacting after you've done the damage.
And I think, I think to stay on that topic, you can decide using the bonus example. So if you have to have a bit of the peacock syndrome, fine, but don't use all your money and don't use all your resources to do that. Do it with a limited amount. And I agree. I mean, we aren't machines. We are human beings, and we need a bit of a reward for what we do as well, for our efforts, and that's great. But plan it and budget it, and then say, great. So I've got my $100 bonus. I'm going to set aside $30, and I'm going to use that $30 to be the peacock for a day, not for a week, maybe. Maybe that's the deal. And then take the $70, knock your debt down, start January with the ability to start building an even better future. By the next December, your 100 is now 150, and your 30% that you decided to allocate is now a bit more, and so you can show off a bit more if that's really what blows your boat. But at the same time, you've laid a better groundwork for the year thereafter. And it's amazing how quickly, if the world works against you in the money world, I mean, debt just compounds on you all the time if you can't pay it off. It works the other way as well. The moment you start saving and the moment you start getting ahead, it's amazing how quickly money builds on itself. And that's all it is. It's just moving from that and moving it up again. And then you're on the upward curve. And then watch what you can do and how you can show off.
No, absolutely. I think we underestimate how precious time is in our hands. And this is why when you look at the number of people who have made adequate provision for their retirement, that figure is so small. The reason being that we don't actually value their time and what we can do with that time from an investing point of view, ensuring that there's adequate provision. Because if you didn't save enough for retirement, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to remember all those years where you've been bashing that money every December and without really making the right decisions then.
I can't think of anything more stressful in my life than waking up at the beginning of a month saying, I actually don't know how I'm going to get through the month because I've got all this debt to pay on my credit card, personal loans, home loan, my vehicle that I really can't afford. And before you've even started that you're already going backwards. I mean, that to live life like that from month to month, year to year is so incredibly destructive for yourself. As you said about children, if you've got kids in the family, that's just not a way to live. Whereas starting the month saying, you know what, I've saved a bit of money, my debt is under control, or hopefully I've got no debt and I can move on. That's a great way to live. And it's actually kind of a relaxing, it becomes much less stressful, I think. You build rather than just catch up the whole time.
What's the ideal December mentality, John?
Look, the first thing is you need to prioritize the essential stuff. You need to prioritize debts. But I'm actually tempted to actually go into what should people be doing? What is the best way to spend money during the festive season?
I want to know that too, but I've got to take a short break. On the other side of this, we're getting into John's head. He's the head of financial education at Old Mutual. Let's hear what he thinks. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Righting the wrongs of the past comes down to a simple formula: how previously disadvantaged people get all the opportunities they deserve. Since 2003, our focus has been to identify and develop mathematical and analytical skills among black students. To date, 18 students of 177 have qualified as actuaries from our Sasria Actuary program and have gained full-time employment. It all adds up to equality we can be proud of.
Welcome back. We're still with Smart Money. We're still describing the December mentality. Spend, save, be prudent. I've got the best brains in the business, John Manyike from Old Mutual, and Warren Ingram still with me in studio. John, you're going to give us the pointers and the tips. The ideal December mentality when it comes to money versus jolly.
Okay, great stuff. Look, the first thing that one needs to do is to set the limit. If you're going into a festive period, you need to set a limit. How much do you have? Because you cannot spend money you don't have. You can't borrow money in order to spend. And that's a recipe for disaster. So set the limits. And secondly, you need to have a shopping list. Don't go shopping without a shopping list. Otherwise, you'll end up buying stuff that you actually don't need, that you didn't plan for. But also, you need to shop around. So there's nothing wrong with collecting pamphlets from different retail stores and compare prices. For those who are internet savvy, you could also go online. And then the fourth one is that, cash is king. Learn to negotiate. In some instances, you might be able to negotiate certain items so that you actually get the best price for it. In some instances, you can ask the store if they don't have cosmetically damaged items. If you really, really need it and it cannot fit into your budget, it's more difficult for retail stores to dispose of those kind of items. But if you ask for it and they have it, you might actually be able to do it. And then the fifth one is you need to use your own money. Don't use money